So, Becca, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
It seems like the obvious question to start an interview with, but I feel like after, I've been listening to your music for a while
Oh, cool.
and paying attention to the lyrics, I feel like I want to know, how are you?
Wow. That is a very nice thing to say. And I think it's really interesting. I always joke with friends like, maybe you should ask me how I am doing because I'm saying it in my lyrics more than I'm saying it always in real life or like in like conversation. So uh yes, I am doing much better and I am very thankful to be here. And I think that is testament to um the work I've done in my life and also the music that I've make. It keeps me going, and I said that to the audience last night. We're on tour right now, so I was saying that to them, like this is kind of the reason why I'm still here is the music that I make, and being able to play it live is pretty much like what I love the most about being a musician, honestly.
So, your lyrics are very personal, and like musicians, leave the lyrics very open to interpretation.
Mm.
Some of your lyrics are like that, but a lot are very just like you're bearing it all.
Yeah.
Is that why people connect with it, do you think? And also, do you ever worry about sharing too much?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I've had some conversations with some friends about Left Hand in particular. They said, well, number one, they all said that they cried through the record. And then, fans have said that too. They're like, "Oh, like I really felt that." I think for me it's like this. It's like, yeah, it's always a risk to bear your truth in front of strangers because people can interpret that and misuse it and even abuse you at the end of the day, but like that's their choice. And like the world is so, I think, equally as beautiful and as cruel as it is. And I think for me, I just want to provide a place where people are allowed to be honest. And honesty isn't always sexy and it isn't always fun, but it is important. And it makes me, I think, feel connected to others in a really real way. And I need that as a person. Like, I can't be a liar, like it's just not in me to do that. So yeah, it's a risk, but it's the one I take, and I appreciate the fact that people are responding to it and allowing themselves to open up as well.
So, Left Hand has been out a few weeks.
Mhm.
You said you've been out on the road.
Mhm.
What kind of feedback are you getting from people about it?
They've been pretty overwhelmed. I've gotten a lot of you really like leveled up. Like I think that there's been a huge shift in me as an artist, even in like I've put a lot of time and money even into my touring rig. Like I have bought my own playback rig, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like in-ears that we run ourselves. So last night we played a show and it was like amazing. And the feedback, so we're opening a tour right now. We're opening for my friend Joy Alodakun, and these
Oh,
shows,
nice.
yeah, these shows are really amazing. And we just had such a good show that like I think this is always an indication when my merch line is like super long after a show,
Right.
right after a show, then you killed it. So yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
that's nice. Are you sticking around to watch Joy every night?
Oh yeah, I love Joy. Joy's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time, and we talked a lot last night actually after the show. And I just think like the two of us on a tour together is so powerful and like so on purpose. Like Joy really did want to support other people of color. Like, I'm Puerto Rican, and I know for me in the indie world, especially the indie world, because she's more in the pop kind of like almost mainstream at this point. The indie world, it's funny. It's like I always thought it was going to be more accepting than the Americana world. And I have found that it's even worse. And there's so many barriers, I think, still there for people of color to like really be celebrated. It's still like the white folks are at the top of the indie world. So like everything else, you know. So it's very important to us to be in a tour where that's being celebrated. And the fans I think are really responding to that. It's really special. Special tour.
Yeah. Nice. So you mentioned that she's a friend,
Mhm.
and you have a few friends on the album as well. Tell me about how that actually happens, and what about your friends that are not on the album? Do they ever feel like they want to be and they get left out?
Funny question. Nobody's ever asked me that. I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I mean, I think it's just like it is really just about what is who's around. Like it's like, I live in Nashville, so a lot of us live there. And so one of those things is like with Julien, like in particular, Julien's gone all the time. And it was just like so last minute. I was actually not going to have Julien sing on this record because she had sang on the last record. And I was like, well, like, I don't want to over ask that. And like, I had somebody else in mind for over and over. And then that didn't happen. And we were working so fast and I needed to wrap it up. And then I was like, you know what, Julien, like, I know that you really want to start like engineering records. So do you want to engineer your vocals? And she was like, absolutely. Like, come over, like, let's do it. And it was something that was so organic. And like with Brittany though, that was like very particular. I really wanted to do that. Like, not that I didn't want Julien to do it. It was just more fun. With Brittany, it was like very intentional because we both were in a band together for years and we'd never written a song truly just together. And it was something that I really wanted to experience. And, she's like my dream producer someday. Like, I'm working on that one. That's gonna happen someday. Cause she's just like my best friend, but also like the best musician I know. Like, I tell her that all the time. I'm like, Britt, like we're like brothers. We spend holiday together. Like we hang out all the time, but you're my favorite musician. Like, you don't forget that. Like, don't lose that. Like that I also like see you. And I think that you're the greatest of our generation. So
Do you ever go fishing together?
yeah, of course I do.
I know she's like crazy mad on the
I
fishing.
mean, look at me right now. I'm about to go.
There you go. So talking about producing, like it's all you this time. Tell me about some of the challenges of doing that.
It's a really big challenge, I think, to put it out and have a response from people and friends in particular. I'm working on not caring what other people think and just being like, that's nice. That's a nice opinion. Like, that's great, moving on. But it's definitely scary. Like, it was definitely like very anxiety inducing just to be like, at the end of the day, these are my decisions. And, thankfully I had so many incredible people. My very close friend and collaborator, Juan Solorzano, he co-produced the record with me, and he's just so pure and he's so in it for the music. He's not in it for the ego. He serves the music only. And I think that was our like guiding light, which was like, we are not afraid to make something really beautiful and emotional. And I do think that that's kind of difficult in a world, again, where I think, I don't know what the right word is, but I do know the word is like revealing. And I think something as a producer is like, I wasn't afraid to be like, allow things to be emotional. And I think that's something that my last record, I was very emotional in the words, but the greatest part had like a undertone of like the feeling was very light. And I think allowing Left Hand to feel dark at times was something I needed to do because that's how I felt. And I wanted you to feel all of it with me. So in that way, the production was like very pointed towards that, like allow it to be something cinematic almost. Like it feels like something, it's my story, and I want you allowed in a universe with me. And
Yeah.
so it's scary, though, because that's like, it feels like you step out really bravely and it was a big step, and like I had a lot of people say, this sounds expensive. Like this sounds incredible. Becca, like the production sounds really good. And I was like, well, I get really lucky to work in a city where I have friends that are unbelievably talented. Like I can just go down the street to a backyard to a studio that is like unreal, like, so it's just choices. Like I made that choice. Maybe I'll make my next record like a punk rock record in like a garage again. Like, I don't know. Like I'm never going to make the same record twice. It was just the
Yeah.
record I make.
I have to congratulate you because I'm quite picky about my sound. Like, you might call me an audiophile, but I hate that phrase, really. And I have to say, it sounds beautiful. It's really, really well done. So I know what your friends are talking about when they tell you that.
Thanks.
I wanted to go back to something that you said at one point. You said that you felt like a passenger in your own life. What do you mean by that? And how has that feeling changed, if it has?
Yeah, I mean, for over 10 years, I had dissociated to survive. I think for me, I had some stuff going on that I didn't know even. Like, coming out was really traumatic. When I came out as queer, I knew that my family would basically kick me out of the family. But I think to survive for a lot of queer people, we have to not talk about it. Number one, like and people are like, oh, that's so sad. We're like, oh, that's okay. Like, I'm okay. And the truth is I wasn't okay. And that was happening for so long, this behavior of dissociating, that when I went to therapy in the end of 2020, I started waking up again. I started actually being in my body and feeling that trauma again, and then healing from that, and then allowing myself to be part of my own life again, not just surviving. And I think that is the main thing I would say, is that when I have a lot of compassion for myself and for other queer people and for other people who've experienced severe trauma, is that we're still here because we've, had to go through that, or we had to survive it. And so now I think I'm allowed to say, I love myself, I forgive others, and I'm working on it, because that's the journey. The one thing I would say about, for me, especially as a queer artist that writes for our experience, there is no end story yet. Like a song in the record, I Had a Dream, there's that line, I have a dream that we make it, but I don't know if they will. I don't know if we actually will. It's a dream. It's a hope. But you have to be okay if you don't get that. And I think that's the thing, is I'm now in the driver's seat where I'm it's okay, Becca. If they never accept you, if you never get that, you get to still live your good, gorgeous life. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Do you think therapy has helped your songwriting in any way?
I think so. Yeah. Because, I think with therapy, you realize that it's two sides to a story. And you have more compassion, I think, for the person that has hurt you and the things that hurt you in life. And you can see that, I have a song called I Needed You on the record. And at first it just was directed only towards the person. And then I went back and was reflective on it and said, well, what did my choices do to that person? Even if they were wrong in the way they reacted to me, they still have a feeling. And I think that's when you start, as I personally think, as we get older, or not even older, as we get wiser, if it's a choice, because we do the work. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're wise. Once you do the work, I think you realize there's nuance. And I think nuance makes you a better writer, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned about your family, kind of disowning you after you came out. But I think I read that your granddad was one of the first people that kind of came around to the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk to me about how that happened? Because I know he's featured on the album. Which is pretty cool.
He's a really funny guy. Yeah, he's 93 and he's still going. He's sharp as a whip. He's he's just very he's he's Italian. His dad's from Italy, from Calabria, Italy, and he's first generation American. And he's Catholic, blue-blooded Democrat. Grew up in Delaware, just union guy, tough guy. His thing is just God is love, and he just really never understood ever. I've always loved this about my grandpa. He's with even racism, or he just he was just never part of that. He was just I love people, and if God is supposed to be loved, then that is supposed to be what we do for others. And this is a guy that's tough. Like my grandpa is like equally the best person and like the toughest guy I know in a lot of ways. You know, to live to 93, you have to be pretty tough. So
Yeah.
he's just somebody that I knew was a risk because I didn't know, because he, you know, he's old school, I guess, in some ways, but he's always been like a feminist. He's always thought that women should be the president. I mean, you know, like he was a big Hillary Clinton fan. He was like, Hillary should have won, you know, like that's his vibe. Like he's just like one of those guys where I think for me, that's the kind of phone call I get from him all the time. Hi, sweetheart. Like, I love you. Hi, baby. Like, you know, that saved me too. Like, you know, and he loves my partner and he's just like wants to meet her and always asks about her. And like, he's just not weird about it. He's just like, you're my granddaughter. I will always love you. Doesn't matter. I don't,
Nice.
like, I don't always get everything anymore, but I don't care. As long as you are kind to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's really nice. How does he feel about being on the record?
He doesn't know.
Oh,
My family doesn't listen. My siblings listen to my music. My family doesn't listen to my music. Although I had a cousin comment, I haven't seen this cousin in years. And a cousin, I guess, works at some kind of like packing place and was just like commented, I just packed your vinyl.
oh,
Like, and they live in like, I think Delaware or something. And like, they were just like mind blown. They were just like, oh. So
yeah, that's kind of a weird coincidence.
yeah.
I feel like a theme with you is community and relationships and friendship and all of that kind of stuff. I wanted to ask you, you don't need to tell me who it is, but why is your best friend, if you have one, your best friend?
Oh. Why is my best friend my best friend? Me, I'm all about like honesty. I'm a Scorpio, so like I like the truth. Like I would prefer somebody to be like, I hate you, like I like despise you, and like, or like you've hurt me or whatever. Like my friendships are all very real. Like the people that I'm very close with, we tell each other the truth, and we really respect each other to say like, if you've hurt me, you tell me. If I've hurt you, I tell you. Like we have agency, I think, in our relationships. And like right now, I'm in the house on tour, staying with a friend that I've known for 17 years, you know, like who's baking me pumpkin bread right now. Like, you know, me and my band, that's the kind of like relationships that I have in my life and I'm like, have kept me alive. So my best friend is my family. They're like my chosen family. And I think that's something that has like kept me going for a long time.
Yeah, so they're looking after you,
Yeah.
your friends. And
Oh, yeah.
how do you look after yourself these days?
Yeah. I don't drink on the road. That's a big one. Like I can't. I used to be a really big partier. Like I really. I was like I struggled going to sleep at night when I was on tour. So I would just like drink and just like pass out. And that's really been like huge to not do that kind of lifestyle anymore. You don't know, like when you're a kid, like starting, like you just like they give you no money, first of all. Like you get paid maybe like $100 and then they give you like drink tickets, you know, and it's just the culture of like how we like kind of make it through the night. And I was definitely a road dog when I first started making music. I toured and toured and toured. So now, you know, I'm still a good time, but like, and I love hanging with my friends and talking to people after shows, but I spend a lot of time alone now and like center myself, and I do meditation and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm a little, I'm a little bit, not soft. I just like, yeah, take care. I like appreciate myself now.
That's a good
Yeah.
place to be.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you too. I appreciate your time. So thank you for talking to me. I would just like to know what hopes you have for like the next 12 months now.
You know, my hope is that Left Hand is like always what it's been for me is a slow burn. Like I feel that about this record. Like I feel like it's almost like a record that you need to listen to a few times to be like, oh, like this is really like hitting me. Like this feels like something that's like a book almost. Like it feels like a story. And that's really different than just like writing like a record that just feels fun or like instant or like, yeah, this is cool. Like it's I think for what I want is like people to be like, I see you, Becca, like you've done the work and I'm with you in this. Like I think Left Hand is gonna have its moment even a while after a release date. I've always felt that way. So part of me that wanted it to, of course, be like immediately like shoot up. But I don't think that that's like what the universe has for me even. And I think right now, what I have experienced is a level up in my, even like my work towards my career. Like I am like deeply working on my live shows, on my communication with fans. Like I'm like on my socials all the time, like responding to their messages. Like I'm building something to last me the rest of my life. Like I don't see myself as like a flash in the pan artist. Like I'm a career artist that like I think will make such good records that people will go back and be like, oh, they've been making really good music since 2017, you know? And like I know that that's just like my breakthrough is coming. Like I know that in whatever that looks like. And mostly for me, when people say, well, what does that mean? I just mean like fans that are like coming to my shows and they feel like I'm an artist that they want to live with in their life and like live in their homes with them. And like, that's really special. And I don't take that for granted because we only have so much space in our brains and our hearts for something. And I want to earn that. So next 12 months, I'm earning their love right now.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you for that. Well, your music is definitely living in my home. And I'm excited to see you play some of that music live when you get to Montreal.
Same. I can't wait.
Yeah, so we'll see you then. But thanks again for your time.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Nice talking to you. Okay.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Give me all you got. I can handle it. Go and take your time.